Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to learn a chapter of mathematics that is probability. So, in a start, we are starting the probability for making a Ludo game. The first question which arises in your mind that what's probability? So, let's think about it with an example. Let's think you're playing a Ludo game and it's your turn to roll the dice. What could be the possible outcomes or the numbers you can get? We can think it through the probability. The total number of possible outcomes that you can get are 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6. You can get any one of the numbers among these 6. Now, if you roll a dice only once, then what are the chances of you getting a 6? So, a dice can give a number out of these 6 when you roll it once. So, the chances of getting 6 out of these 6 numbers is only once, that is 1 upon 6. Similarly, the chances or the probability of getting a 1 is once out of these 6 numbers, that is 1 by 6. Similarly, the 2 is once, is again 1 by 6. So we can say that the chances of getting any number out of these 6 outcomes is 1 upon 6. Let's take another example. Let's you have to toss a coin, then what could be the possible outcomes, a head or a tail? That is, there are two possible outcomes, whether it can be head or a tail. Think about the chances of you getting the head and tail, which we will cover with the help of probability. What could I get if I toss a coin? There are two chances. We can get either head or a tail. These chances will be called as outcomes. The outcomes may be head or tail. So what's the chances or the probability of getting head out of these two possible outcomes? The probability of getting head is 1 out of these two outcomes. So the probability will be 1 upon 2. So what's probability? We'll learn it through the definition. Probability is the chances of some occurrence or some events. Probability means possibility. By definition, we can say that probability is a branch of mathematics that deals with the occurrence of a random event. Now, what's event? Event is a single outcome of an experiment. Any outcome which comes out of an experiment, that's called an event. Like getting a head while tossing or getting a number 2 while rolling a dice is an event. Getting a number 3 is an event. So the single outcome of an experiment is the event. Now, what's an experiment or a trial? A series of actions where the outcomes are always uncertain are called experiment. You are trying to find the total number of outcomes through the process. So that's called experiment, like tossing a coin, rolling a dice, selecting a card from a deck. There are chances of getting any one of the card from the 52 cards of the deck. So this is an experiment. You're trying, what will we get? Now, why are we studying probability? The most important thing is probability helps us to predict a sequence and events through which we can understand the possibilities of the future events. Because probability is the logic of uncertainty or randomness. Uncertainty and randomness occurs in just about every field of the application and in daily life also. So it helps us to make decisions. And now with the help of probability, we can win in our life, in games, and many other things. So coming on the types of probability, we have to learn only two types of probability, theoretical and the experimental probability. Whether there is one more probability type, that is axiomatic probability. So coming on theoretical probability, the theoretical probability is based on the reasoning behind the probability, which is also called a classical probability. For example, if a coin is tossed, the theoretical probability of getting head will be 1 upon 2. Now, coming on the experimental probability, it is based on the observations of an experiment. The experimental property can be calculated based on the number of possible outcomes by the total number of trials. Again, the experimental property can be calculated based on the number of possible outcomes by the total number of trials. So if we toss a coin 10 times, the total number of trials are 10. And if we get the head 6 times, the number of possible outcome is 6. So the experimental probability will be 6 upon 10, that is 3 by 5. There is one important note here that probability of all the events of an experiment always adds up to 1. This is a very important note in probability. Like, think of tossing a coin. There are only two possible outcomes, which are head and tail. So the probability of getting head is 1 by 2 and probability of getting tail is also 1 by 2. Now, if we add both of these probability of both of these outcomes, that is probability of getting head plus probability of getting tail, will be 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 is equal to 1, which was there in the note that probability of all the events of an experiment adds up to 1. So that was the glimpse of probability to you all. Thank you so much.